don't wanna be an American idiot.
Where does public health meet personal health, and what are your rights to privacy? I do want to poke the bear a little bit, so to speak, with it, because what comes to mind is bakeries around gay rights issues.
Right.
When you're saying, all right, you have the right to discriminate your business practices on certain principles that we've now deemed guaranteed,
Right.
human rights.
We've agreed on certain core tenets. You shouldn't discriminate against people based on race, based on, gender, based on ability, those sorts of things.
Sexual identity.
Sexual identity. But in the case of public health, if one of your customers is going to put all your other customers at risk, and those customers at risk have a legal case against you to sue you for negligence or whatever else it might be, I'm sorry, as a business, I'm going to say, hey, everybody has to be vaccinated because it's just in our own best interest and the interest of all of our customers.
By that very same token, and not to go into something that's just I'm going to regret later for sure for saying, but the whole thing with bakeries not wanting to make wedding cakes for homosexuals. This, to me, feels very similar to that. And I understand the difference here, right? Public health, public good. This is for the benefit of the employees' customers. Quantifying that seems kind of tricky to me. It feels like a gray area. You're a private enterprise. If you don't choose to, have free market exchange with a certain group, isn't that sort of your right?
Here's where I would challenge that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a black person, if I walk into your establishment and I would like to buy a cake, and I want the people on top of the cake to be black, right? And you say, no, people on top of the cake have to be white. I'm going to sue you because my blackness literally hurts no one else at all. I'm just this, right? Whereas if you walk into a business and you have COVID,
what if they don't tell you why they're not selling to you? As it gets back to Trump and a whole lot of different developers, not just Trump, not renting to black people, basically.
Yeah.
If you don't explicitly do it and you can show a pattern of bias, ultimately does it matter because it's still correlation, not causation?
I think ultimately it's a little bit like comparing apples to oranges in the sense that you either got the vaccine or you didn't get the vaccine, right?
Right.
And there's proof. Now, there are people trying to counterfeit and do things like that.
And there's also the element of, your health as a privacy is something that is protected because it can be used to discriminate against you, which is entirely why it exists to begin with, is to protect you from discrimination in the market. HIPAA, right, is so that insurance companies cannot discriminate against you to some extent.
It is true. But the problem is specifically with this, and I do think this is a particular case, by you asserting that right to privacy, you could literally be you could be writing somebody's death certificate. And that's the key. Because the problem is your personal rights can't infringe upon my personal rights. And that's
where we're in absolute agreement because, I believe in, freedom and accountability for all. The whole idea of you can do whatever you want so long as it does no harm or interfere at all with someone else. Without their consent, obviously. If two consenting parties want to do whatever they want to do, whatever. That's their agreement.